please subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, definitely do that.
I just wanted to get that out of the way right at the top, because what we are unpacking today is...
It's massive.
It really is. It's something you are going to want to follow very, very closely.
Absolutely.
We are currently on day 5 of what the military is calling Operation Epic Fury.
Right.
And this is an unprecedented, rapidly escalating military conflict between a U.S. and Israeli coalition and Iran, along with its proxy forces.
It's moving incredibly fast.
Yeah. So our mission for this deep dive is to sort through the staggering amount of data and the strategic realities of the last 100 hours.
Which is a lot of ground to cover.
A ton of ground.
Yeah.
We want to help you understand not just what is happening on the ground right now, but where this historic conflict is actually heading.
Because, make no mistake, this isn't just another regional skirmish you see on the evening news.
No, not at all. This is a massive operation that is actively rewriting the rules of modern warfare and global security as we speak.
It really is a complete paradigm shift. I mean, when you step back and look at the sheer scale of the munitions being exchanged.
The numbers are wild.
They are. The novel technology being deployed and the immediate chaotic blowback across the entire region.
Yeah.
It becomes glaringly obvious that we're in completely uncharted territory.
Right.
We're looking at a situation that has the potential to reshape the geopolitical map for generations.
Yeah.
The consequences of these first few days, they are going to ripple out far beyond the borders of the Middle East.
Well, I want to start by looking at the sheer scale of the coalition's success in these initial stages, because honestly, it is almost hard to wrap your head around.
The operational tempo is staggering.
Exactly. According to the data I have, the coalition's strategic blueprint wasn't just some random assortment of strikes.
No, it's highly systematic.
Right. It was laid out in 3 very distinct, calculated phases aimed at dismantling Iran's ability to project power.
Which is the only way to tackle a target set that large.
Phase 1, eliminate the Theater ballistic missile.
Basically take away their ability to strike deep into neighboring countries.
Right. And then Phase 2, degrade the Iranian navy, securing the surrounding water.
Vital for carrier group safety.
Yeah. And finally, Phase 3, prevent the military apparatus from rebuilding by destroying the manufacturing foundation.
And the execution of that sequence is critical. You can't safely operate in the waters or go after the factories until you've neutralized those long-range ballistic missiles.
You have to clear the board first.
Exactly. They had to decapitate the offensive.
And the speed at which they are doing it is incredible. I mean, less than 100 hours into this massive operation, coalition forces have already struck nearly 2,000 individual targets.
2,000.
Using more than 2,000 precision munitions. That is an astonishing operational tempo.
It really is.
We're talking B-1 and B-2 bombers executing surgical strikes against fortified missile facilities deep inside Iranian territory.
And they're doing it in completely uncontested airspace.
Completely uncontested.
Yeah, the Pentagon's formal statement on that is actually quite sobering. They noted that many of these deep inland targets were hit with absolutely no effective Iranian air defense response whatsoever.
And that implies a complete fracturing of their local airspace defense, doesn't it?
It certainly points to that.
But I mean, from a purely tactical standpoint, isn't that a massive win? The coalition is systematically neutralizing anything that poses a direct firing threat.
On a spreadsheet, yes, it looks like a resounding tactical success, but you have to contrast that with the chaotic reality of the blowback on the ground.
Right.
It is true that the coalition has severely degraded Iran's defensive and offensive capabilities. We have seen an 86% drop in theater ballistic missiles fired compared to the chaotic first day.
86% is a huge drop.
It is, but if you are a civilian living in the region, that remaining 14% is still terrifying. Because despite that massive reduction, the Iranian regime has still managed to launch over 500 ballistic missiles and over 2,000 drones into the regional airspace over these last...
So even with a fractured defense and heavily degraded launch capability, they are still putting a terrifying amount of firepower into the sky.
Exactly.
You know, I was looking at the targeting distribution and it totally upended my assumption.
How so?
Well, you would naturally assume Israel is taking the absolute brunt of this retaliation, but that isn't the case, is it?
Not at all. The evidence on the ground is crystal clear, and it points to a very alarming shift in strategy.
Yeah.
This incoming fire is indiscriminately targeting civilian infrastructure, and they are spreading it far and wide.
Just wave after wave.
Right. They are sending continuous launches directly at cities and population centers across neighboring nations. The United Arab Emirates is actually bearing the heaviest burden.
The UAE.
Yes. The UAE has faced an overwhelming 863 incoming projectiles. In stark contrast, Israel has been targeted by 113.
That discrepancy is wild to me. 863 63 compared to 113. Why target the UAE so heavily when the coalition is being led by the US and Israel?
It is a deliberate strategy of applying maximum pressure to the region's economic and logistical hub.
Hitting them where it hurts financially.
Precisely. Furthermore, we are seeing the regime aggressively targeting diplomatic sites.
Right, the embassies.
A CIA station located at the U.S. Embassy compound in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, was recently hit. A separate Iranian drone strike impacted an area right near the U.S. consulate in Dubai.
So they aren't holding back.
No. They are trying to cause panic and destabilize the international presence in these allied nations. Think of this synchronized attack strategy like a deliberate stress test on a structural foundation.
Okay.
The attackers are launching mass volumes of munitions simultaneously, desperately searching for any microfracture or momentary delay in the air defense shield cause maximum destruction.
And the data shows they aren't just doing this in isolation either.
No.
The Israeli Defense Force confirmed that Iran and Lebanese militants have actively started coordinating their aerial attacks.
Which is a massive escalation in tactics.
Basically, they are treating a multi-billion-dollar air defense network like my laptop when I open too many browser tabs at once.
Ha! That is a highly accurate analogy.
They are just flooding the system's memory until it crashes.
Exactly.
Right.
Military intelligence confirmed at least 2 separate, highly orchestrated instances where both Iran and the Lebanese militant group launched their attacks against Israel at the exact same moment.
At the exact same moment.
Yes, this is a calculated military tactic explicitly designed to overwhelm the processing capabilities of the regional air defense system.
Just a numbers game.
It is quite literally mathematical warfare. You throw so many objects into the sky at the exact same millisecond from opposite directions that the computers running the defense shields simply run out of interceptors or processors.
And to combat that math, the coalition is going aggressively after the source.
They have to.
We're seeing declassified video of Israeli forces neutralizing underground weapons storage sites right beneath the dense city infrastructure of Beirut to dismantle that militant coordination.
Striking the commandos.
Yeah, the IDF spokesman made it clear that they're working through an extensive strike list of high-value targets, specifically going after the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps headquarters.
To deepen the systemic harm to the regime's command arrays.
Exactly.
But we have to acknowledge the human cost of that systemic harm, though.
Of course.
Emerging video footage from inside Iran shows largely empty streets overshadowed by visible destruction. You have residents in Tehran recounting massive consecutive blasts that shatter windows throughout entire neighborhoods.
From the heavy munitions.
Right. The coalition is utilizing heavy ordnance that creates intense kinetic shock.
Can you explain that a bit for the listeners?
Sure. A kinetic shock wave is a massive pressure wave that travels outward from the explosion. It can completely ruin the structural integrity of multi-story buildings and shatter glass for miles, even without a direct hit.
So even if the target is a military bunker, the neighborhood feels it.
Intensely. The coalition's objective is to deliver an uncompromising message that the regime cannot win, but the long-term psychological and physical toll on the civilian population living through these heavy detonations.
It's a heavy, heavy reality. We are going to dive into the historic naval engagements we are seeing in this theater in just a second, including a submarine story that is truly wild. But first, please subscribe to our channel.
Yes, and don't forget to like the video, comment, and subscribe.
It really helps us keep bringing you these deep dives into the events shaping our world.
Because looking at those historical military tactics, what we are watching unfold right now is going to be studied in war colleges for the next century.
It absolutely will. Let's talk about that major naval development in the Indian Ocean.
The submarine strike.
Yes, an American fast attack submarine successfully engaged and sank an Iranian warship.
Out of nowhere.
Complete. The Iranian vessel was operating under the assumption it was safe in international waters, and it met a quiet, sudden end from a single Mark 48 torpedo.
That is an incredibly rare event in modern warfare.
Is it?
Oh, absolutely. This marks the very first time an enemy combatant ship has been intentionally sunk by a torpedo since the end of the Second World War in 1945.
80 years.
80 years.
That is 80 years since we've seen a submarine intentionally torpedo an enemy warship. For you, the listener, who might not be a naval history buff, what kind of ship do they actually sink?
It was one of 4 Shahid Soleimani class corvettes, introduced just recently in 2022. A corvette is essentially a small, highly maneuverable warship specifically designed for coastal defense and quick strike.
So losing one is a big deal.
Losing one of these is a massive blow to their local maritime control. And the specific torpedo used, the Mark 48, is an acoustic homing heavyweight torpedo designed specifically to sink deep diving submarines and high-performance surface ships.
How does it work? Does it just punch a hole in the side?
No, actually. It is designed to detonate underneath the keel of a ship, literally breaking the vessel's back pressure bubble.
Man, that is devastating. And the name of that ship class carries a lot of baggage baggage too. It was named after General Qasem Soleimani, the former head of the IRGC Quds Force.
The Quds Force being the branch of the Iranian military responsible for unconventional warfare and military intelligence operations outside of Iran's borders.
Right.
Satala was eliminated during President Trump's first term. So there is a deep layer of historical and political weight wrapped up in that one vessel going to the bottom of the sea.
It really demonstrates how the U.S. military is reaching deep into its operational toolbox.
Absolutely.
But what I find fascinating is the contrast here. You have these sophisticated multi-million-dollar stealth submarine operations happening in the ocean, and simultaneously, we are witnessing a revolution on the completely opposite end of the technological spectrum up in the sky.
The drone.
The drone. Secretary Hegseth noted that roughly 2,000 cheap one-way attack drones have already been fired. It's like a swarm of deadly, inexpensive flying lawnmowers.
That swarm represents a definitive turning point in drone warfare.
How so?
If you trace the progression here, during the conflicts in Afghanistan and Iraq, unmanned aerial vehicles were primarily utilized for intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance.
They were just eyes in the sky.
Exactly. Then, in the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, we saw the rapid adaptation of drones into direct kinetic weapons. They became the bomb itself.
Right.
Now, in this theater, we are witnessing the deployment of massive, coordinated drone swarms. It is a massive tactical differentiator because it forces multi-million-dollar air defense missiles to intercept drones that cost a few $1,000s to make.
It flips the economics of war upside down. But where are they getting all of these? You'd think the sanctions would have crippled their ability to import that kind of technology.
Vice Admiral Robert Harward, who served on the National Security Council, provided some crucial insight on this.
What did he say?
He pointed out that the Iranians have proven to be highly industrious in their defense manufacturing sector. It is highly probable they are building the vast majority of these drone systems entirely internally.
Wow. So the coalition can't just intercept shipments at the border.
Precisely. It becomes an absolute strategic necessity that the coalition systematically targets and obliterates physical production facilities inside Iran.
You have to hit the source.
If they are making them at home, you have to destroy the home factories to shut down this power projection. And the regional defense network is scrambling to keep up with the spread of these drones.
It's spreading fast.
We just saw 2 Greek F-16 fighter jets successfully intercept and shoot down 2 Iranian drones operating all the way off the coast of Cyprus.
That really highlights how far-reaching this threat has become.
It does.
So looking at all this data, the submarine strikes, the drone swarms, the destroyed missile facilities, what does this all mean for the endgame?
That is the big question.
Recent reporting indicates that President Trump is actively looking toward the post-conflict landscape. He is reportedly weighing options for providing material support to Iranian militia groups that could potentially assist in fully dislodging Tehran's current radical Islamic leadership structure.
A leadership structure that is already under immense pressure. We are following reports that Ayatollah Khamenei's oldest son has been quietly selected to succeed his father.
Yeah, independent verification on that succession is still unconfirmed, but a former State Department deputy special envoy offered a very blunt assessment of the son.
He did.
He described him as a deeply troubling figure with his own extensive documented record of human rights abuse. The envoy actually stated he hopes there is a significant target on this individual's head and expressed confidence the Iranian people will reject him just as fiercely as his father.
It creates a highly volatile internal situation for Iran, but it is equally interesting to look at how the American public is processing this immense commitment of military resources and the potential for regime change.
The domestic public opinion data is fascinating because it is so divided.
Right down the middle.
Exactly. A new national poll reveals that the American public is completely fractured. It is a perfect 50-50 split regarding their support for the ongoing United States military strikes inside Iran.
Which is to be expected with an operation of this magnitude.
But despite that deep division on the tactical approach, the exact same poll reveals a strong, unified agreement on the underlying issue.
The threat itself.
Right. A substantial majority of Americans firmly believe that Iran, in its current state, poses a clear and present national security threat to the United States.
That public consensus on the threat, combined with the division on the method, puts the Pentagon in a very complex position. During a critical briefing, Secretary Hegseth and General Dan Kane faced pointed questions about the ultimate end state of like.
Where is this actually going?
Right. Secretary Hegseth clarified that while the U.S. military currently has no formal plans to directly arm an internal insurgency, he didn't entirely rule out the possibility that other specific elements or agencies within the U.S. government might pursue such a strategy.
Leaving the door open.
And this raises what might be the most crucial question of this entire deep dive. What happens if the regime actually falls?
The ultimate you break it, you buy it problem of geopolitics.
It really is.
For you, the listener, trying to make sense of this, a failed state in Iran doesn't just mean distant news on television.
No.
It means the world's most heavily armed power vacuum sits right on top of the Strait of Hormuz, where a massive percentage of the world's oil flow.
The economic implications are massive.
If that region devolves into a civil war, it instantly hits your wallet at the gas pump and disrupts global shipping overnight.
And military historians note a very sobering reality regarding regime change.
What's that?
In the entire history of modern warfare, there have only been 3 genuinely successful military operations resulting in stable regime. Just 3.
Only 3 times.
Japan and Germany following World War II, and Panama in 1990.
Why did those 3 work when so many others failed?
Well, in Japan and Germany, you had a total unconditional surrender, followed by massive, decades-long global rebuilding efforts and total military occupation.
A complete reshaping of the society.
Exact. In Panama, you had an overwhelming force applying pressure to a very small nation with a highly specific objective.
But Iran is different.
Iran is vastly. It is massive, highly populated, geographically complex, and heavily armed. In almost every other historical instance, external interventions aimed at regime change have rapidly devolved into protracted civil wars or the creation of entirely failed states.
Which is a terrifying prospect for the Middle East.
Military analysts suggest that coalition forces are rapidly approaching a critical tipping point where Iran's overall ability to project meaningful military power will be entirely neutralized.
And then what?
Once that threshold is crossed, a massive amount of operational capacity will likely shift toward the complex process of dealing with the political fallout. But how exactly does a military identify when that specific tipping point of success has been achieved?
You would naturally assume it's when the explosions stop, when the last launch facility is destroyed and the skies are clear of drones.
That is the tactical victory, sure. But the indicators of true success are actually found in the return to normalcy within neighboring nations.
Okay, what does that look like?
The true metric is when nations like Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia see their daily business routines normal.
When people feel safe again.
Yes. It is when civilian commercial flights resume standard schedules and when the general population feels secure enough to return to outdoor activity. Just today, observers in Abu Dhabi noted a significant number of commercial aircraft operating out of local airports again.
That's a good sign.
Therefore, the primary metric for success is when the sheer volume of incoming strikes directed at neighboring nations fundamentally dissipates. That is the clearest signal the military objectives are being met.
Let's put the sheer magnitude of Operation Epic Fury into context as we wrap up here.
Good idea.
Late last night, Admiral Brad Cooper, the head of U.S. Central Command, provided a striking historical comparison. He stated that when measured against the initial shock and awe campaign that launched the Iraq War, the sheer scale of the current operation over its first 24 hours was effectively double in magnitude.
Double the size.
Double the size of the invasion of Iraq's opening salvos. We are witnessing history unfold at a blistering pace, driven by unprecedented coordination, historic naval engagements, and the terrifying math of drone swarm warfare.
As we watch this coalition systematically dismantle an entire military apparatus, I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder as this conflict moves into its next phase.
Me too.
If the coalition successfully neutralizes every ballistic missile, destroys every drone production facility, and achieves all of its tactical goals, but leaves behind a massive power vacuum in an already heavily armed and deeply divided region, are we truly witnessing the end of a threat, or are we just watching the chaotic beginning of a completely new one?
That is the question that will undoubtedly define global security for the next decade. Thank you for joining us for this analysis. Please subscribe to our channel.